The rank list of everything is brought to you through the magic of folded up clothes decorating a makeshift radio studio.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Ranked List of Everything, the podcast where we rank literally everything, no matter how stupidly vague or needlessly specific the entry might be. Each episode I am joined by a fantastic new guest and we add 3 more entries into the pre-existing list. The way this works is that my guest brings one entry they think is great, one they think is terrible, and I also bring one entry to add. Now, we don't know what each other have chosen, and you can see the list so far that we'll be going through by looking at the link in the description. Now, my guest today, joining me very kindly, is William. William, will you say hello for me, please?
Hello.
Hello. And now, you're familiar with how the show works, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, good. Thank you so much for being on. I hope you have a decent time. Try and stay relaxed here. Try and stay a little bit more laid back, you know?
I'm laid back on my bed at the moment, so this is
perfect.
The actual
So you can't physically be more laid back? Yeah.
Not at all, no.
Okay, good. We always try and push things to the extreme here, so that's always good to hear. I mean, I should really be laying down here at the moment, but as you can see, I don't take this position seriously, which is a massive shame, otherwise I would be. So, William, do you mind if I call you William?
Absolutely. Call me whatever you want.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've actually realised that in every single episode, apart from maybe 2, I've forgotten to actually say what my name was.
I think that's quite important, actually.
I think that is important, you know.
But maybe that's all that is just you being really modest and taking a step back as the host and letting the guest.
Yeah, just provide more focus on the guest, make the podcast itself stand out more. It's mysterious, let's say. Let's make it. Okay, brilliant. So you've got one fantastic entry and one terrible entry. Which of those 2 do you think is stronger?
That's a difficult one. I think the one that I'd say the one that a lot of people agree with more is my good entry. Okay, so you think that could get higher? Yeah, I think so. Okay. I mean, saying this, you know, who knows what reaction this is going to take. Well, yeah, this could be the end of your podcast because of how much rioting ensues from my choices. But okay, yeah, we'll see.
All right, and your worst one, you think that's pretty strong as well?
Yeah,
or?
I think it's fairly strong, but I think the actual specifics of it might not necessarily. Everyone might agree it's more sort of a personal annoyance, but I think the overall theme people might agree with.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you choose then. Do you want to start with your good one or bad one?
I'll tell you what, just so we end on a high, I think I'll start with the bad one first.
All right, okay.
And this is one that I've actually done quite a bit of research into. Okay. So I can back my hatred up with statistics. And this is, when I say statistics, I genuinely mean statistics, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so my bad one is, it sounds like a cliche at first, but I'll go into more detail, which is television advertising.
Television advertising. Okay.
And there's 2 specific. I'm going to choose television advertising as an overall thing, but there's 2 specific ones that I really dislike. Okay. The first one is women's healthcare product adverts. Okay. And they're quite generic. There's nothing really that problematic with them, the actual advert. Yeah. But it's a little disclaimers at the bottom. When you see a thing that says 87% of women enjoyed this product or, found it was useful. Okay. And then the little tiny bits at the bottom that say, this was a survey of 119 women. And you think, I guess around 35 million people in the UK are female. Yeah. Let's say around 50. This is the one I've not got evidence to back up, but let's say around 15 to 20 million of those are the sort of demographic that these adverts are pointing towards. Yeah. 119 is pitiful as a survey.
Extremely small pool.
And so after noticing this and being frustrated with it, I started to catalogue all the statistics that I could. Whenever I saw one of these adverts, I'd get my iPad out, I'd write down the percentage of people that agreed with this product or found it was useful, and then the amount of people that they surveyed, just to see who were the worst offenders.
Okay,
and
all right. So you've got a nice list of this now.
Yeah, I've got one. I can't. I'm not going to count how many there are on this, but it's quite a long list.
too many to count.
I think listing down one of these was probably one too many.
Yeah, 100%. But it's good to dedicate. Once you've started, you have to keep going.
You got to have. I think the top of the list is on your list is currently discovering a lifelong passion.
Yeah.
So I think.
And for you, that's writing down the percentages on women healthcare adverts.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change the world with it. So there are some fairly. I mean, for example. Herbal essences, 94%. That's quite a good amount.
It's a high number.
It's also out of 1,709 women, which it's still quite small.
Yeah.
But compared to a lot of these companies, it's very large.
Right. Okay.
For example, I'm going to tell you the absolute worst, which is Nivea Q10.
Okay.
77% of people agree, which is when it gets into the high 70s. Is that really a statistic you want to flaunt?
No, not at all.
So 77% of women out of, and I'm not going to tell you the figure because I want you to try and guess how many women did they survey to come up with that statistic?
Okay, right. So it's 77. So it's got to be more than like 20. So I'm going to say something like 80. Lower than 80. Okay.
Quite a bit lower.
50?
Lower.
30?
31.
They interviewed... They tested this on 31 people, and they only found like 3/4 of them who went, yeah, this is all right.
Yeah. And what I find funny in that is that surely... That's clearly someone who did that survey at 5 o'clock on a Friday evening, isn't it? It's like...
Just before their deadline.
But what makes you... When you get to 30, what makes you then go... I can't just do 30. I've got to get up to 31. I might as well do another one.
And that would really piss a lot of people off, I think. Actually, what was the first number that you counted? That was a weird number as well, wasn't it?
So that was like 87% of 119, was that? Or was it...
Exactly, 119. Why 119? Why would you not make it to 120?
All of these. 119, 58, 104, 73, 81, like... sort of the perfectionist in me would want to,
just do one more or one less.
Exactly. Like, don't do 171. Just do 170.
Right. What is the logic in this? Because surely when you're planning a research campaign, you're going to say, right, we're going to get 30 people. You're not going to say, right, let's get 31 people. Because as we know, that is the best range to get. No, I mean, What are they doing? Are they pulling people off the street?
Because obviously adverts, especially in the UK... There's an authority that, the Advertising Standards Authority. Uh-huh. So maybe there's a minimum number that you have to, you can't just do one. You have to do a minimum of
31.
Maybe 30. And then they thought, well, we'll do 31 just to make, But that's not, obviously this is one part of my answer.
Okay. Well, let's hit the second one then. Do they relate in any way?
Not really.
Okay.
But in terms of using numbers and statistics and things, they sort of relate in that it's gambling adverts.
Okay.
So there's a campaign which I'm not a gambler.
Okay.
I'm not. This isn't an attack on anyone that enjoys gambling at all.
I mean, there's a lot of gambling adverts on at the moment because obviously it's the World Cup.
But even so, even without the World Cup, you've got just so many different brands that I'm sure there's many of them owned by the same people.
Oh, almost definitely, yeah.
But if you watch television of an evening as much as I do, and as frequently as I do, you'll notice that when you see one gambling site, that the next gambling site that gets advertised has got exactly the same games on. And it's always it's things like Rainbow Riches. And I mean, some people that, listen to late night television might be going, oh, I remember that, Rainbow Riches, Cleopatra. And just these sort of games. One of the worst offenders, in my opinion, is called Pink Casino. And this is sort of going back to being annoyed at how little research, women's healthcare products do. This is starting to turn into sort of like a feminist response. But Pink Casino is just it's like a guy who's never actually spoken to a woman before. Thought we better make a gambling. All of these gambling sites are so aggressive.
Let's make one for ladies.
Let's make one for ladies. But I've never actually spoken to a lady before. What do they? They're like pink. They're like, we better have a woman on there who's wrapped her hair in a towel on the sofa with her little dog, and she's out for a jog, but she's got time to play Cleopatra on her phone on Pink Casino.
Oh, God.
And it's just the most it's like something out of a cartoon. It's like a satire on...
I've just googled Pink Casino now because I wasn't 100% sure like what you were talking about, but I see exactly what you mean.
I to be honest, I don't believe you. I think you've got an account. I think you're the one that goes for a jog, your little dog. And... Right.
I'd appreciate you not outing me on my own podcast, but I mean, I mean, I'll say it because otherwise I'm going to get emails. Yes, I am the person who models as Cleopatra in those adverts. No, don't DM me for autographs because I'm not going to give them to you. It was a dark time in my life. It was decent cash. I see exactly what you mean, though. Even as down to the little like cherry symbols that are made of hearts. Nothing about that logo is like a gambling site at all. Yeah. So how many of these do you generally see?
So the gambling adverts, they sort of offend in two different ways. In that there's lots of different ones. So there's probably about 6 or 7 different ones that you'd see.
Just constantly pop up.
Bet365, Betfred, Pink Casino. There's lots of others that I can't remember right now. But the other thing that annoys me is, and this goes back to the general hatred of TV advertising, at least at the moment, is that it's just the same adverts. Not even like once a night, but you watch a program. Every ad break, it's the same adverts that you see more and more times again. And I did animation at university.
Okay.
So I'm used to watching a video or a video clip over and over again. And even my own stuff that I've poured my heart into, I just can't watch it after a certain amount of time because I'm just so sick of it.
Yeah.
And I just want to sort of finish with it.
Okay, right. Okay. So let's start looking at the list. Again, listeners, if you look in the description and pull up that image, you can see where we're looking. Now, I'm looking at the bottom towards dictatorships, okay? And that's because I'm thinking, if you live under a dictatorship, you don't get these ad campaigns, do you?
No, that's very true.
So does that make it better than living under a dictatorship?
Well, isn't living under a dictatorship, the fact that you don't get these adverts makes the dictatorship very appealing, to be honest.
It does.
If you've got a state-run television, which is entirely... controlled to the fact that things like even maybe gambling's even banned, and with the penalty of death.
Yep.
Then if that's the case, there'll be a lot of people that will be genuinely upset. But it will also lead to the eradication
of advertising
Pink Casino.
Campaigns. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like living under an oppressive regime, you've got to fear for your life. Generally, you don't get freedom of speech, but you don't have to watch 20 Pink Casino adverts of an evening. So it really is ups and downs, isn't it?
What I find funny is that I listened to your last episode with, the one with idiots on bikes and Odysseus and that sort of thing. And the case that you made for idiots on bikes was the fact that...
They are dictatorships on the road.
I feel like there's going to be enough of these arguments so that... In about a year's time, when you've done loads of these podcasts, dictatorships are going to be to the point where you look at the list and you think, is that a good thing, or is that in the top half? There's so many things that people think are worse than actually
I think it genuinely might be. I mean, it's less than 30 entries long, and we're already looking at, well, maybe living in a dictatorship would be better than this,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I won't get to watch The Chase, but at least I won't have to watch Pink Casino as well.
Yeah. And if you're really that bothered about watching The Chase, watch it on YouTube or something,
I do, to be honest. I can't get enough of The Chase. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, Chase will be another topic for another day. What do you think, in your honest opinion, where do you think advertising campaigns should go? Do you think they can go below idiots on bikes?
I always feel, because I'm not a cyclist, but I'm also not a driver.
Okay.
So my annoyance with people on bikes or idiots on bikes is not... Yeah, it's very limited. I am annoyed more about idiots in cars than idiots on bikes. So, I mean, I'm saying this, but obviously that it's all a ploy to be able to get mine at the bottom spot. But it's up to you. I don't want to... If you want to make a gamble, hey, a little pun there.
The sad thing is, it took me a second to get that after you said hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I see where you're coming from, and the big sort of pull here comes. I mean, we're looking at around 27, 28. I think we've discussed that it probably is better to be living under an oppressive regime than to be like
without
forced,
question.
Yeah, than to be forced to look at Pink Casino and research ranges of only 31 women. Because I mean, I feel like Harrison, if he became a dictator, he would dictate that you have to have at least an even number of women in your research product, you know? Yeah. And that would be easier to enforce, because if someone came out with 31 women, you're dead. You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you've convinced me. Okay, but the idiots on bikes, that's where I'm starting to get difficult. So I think I'm going to put it second to the bottom, if that's all right with you, William.
Absolutely, yeah, that'd be great.
Advertising campaigns, because I really do see, and this is the thing with this podcast, is that whenever we go to the bad one, my blood just starts to boil, because people always make really good points about why I should be annoyed, and so I get really annoyed.
Well, this is why I wanted to do the bad one first, because I didn't want to leave the episode and you then edit the episode furiously, with main mistakes, because you're just I'm so
I
annoyed
do have
at
to
the bad
take
things on the
breaks
list.
when editing the bad parts, just like, oh Jesus Christ, I can't believe these things actually exist. But there we go. Okay, so advertising campaigns comes in at number 28 on the ranked list of everything, just below Harrison's ambition to become a dictator, but still not quite beating Idiots on Bikes, sitting now at number 29. And with that, William, would you like to introduce me to your best topic?
So, my best topic is the work of Michael Jackson.
Okay. The work of Michael Jackson, and I'm going to say my thing because I always forget to say it. Before we can rank something, we must truly understand it. So, to the best of your ability, would you please describe to me and the listener what the work of Michael Jackson is or has been?
So, I think what's quite important to point out here is that, a lot of people who like Michael Jackson grew up liking Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people, which is why I'm sort of making my case for it. I didn't dislike his music at all. I was just, for whatever reason,
just not that interested,
blissfully unaware, really, of how important it was. I mean, I was born in 1995, so when I was, aware of music and, in a way that I could appreciate it properly, it was when he just disappeared from the media. He stopped making music and, the trials and all that sort of stuff, and he just hid away with his children.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't really the big star anymore. He was people still played his music, but he wasn't this big star. So I was very unaware of his talent, his music, all that sort of stuff, until he died. And I should also say I wasn't that sort of, because I didn't really know his stuff.
Well,
I wasn't
if it's someone that you're not a fan of and it's just someone you're aware of, then it's not really going to hit you that hard, is it?
Exactly.
Someone you never knew.
But because he died, obviously his music was suddenly in the media again.
Yeah. So
I started to listen to his music properly and sort of thought, yes, this is really nice. I really like it. I understand the idea, but it was just like, it was things like Billie Jean and Beat It and Smooth Criminal, like the hits, the main ones. Yeah. So I went still about 5 years, until I got to the first year of university, where I was playing I was on shuffle on my iTunes, and I think it was Human Nature or Earth Song, one that I'd usually not instinctively listen to, popped up, and I just would usually skip it because I wasn't that interested. Yeah, exactly. And then I just listened to it, and I was like, this is actually genius. This is absolutely brilliant. And I just listened to the rest of the album. This Is It, that album. So the album that comes with the film that was about his final concert that he never got to do. And so that was a compilation of all of his sort of hits. So I listened to all these things, and I was just like, I was in love with them. And I should also say I'm someone that has always throughout school hated things like dance lessons that we did in secondary school. Yeah. But it's really weird. It's so cliche, but genuinely, listen to Jam, for example, by Michael Jackson. I just felt myself. I couldn't sit still. I was
you can't not groove to it.
Exactly. And he suddenly, out of nowhere, became my absolute favourite artist. I'm not going to say that, I love absolutely every song that he's ever done. There's always, without anyone, there's always stronger and weaker stuff.
Absolutely.
But the stuff that is his stronger stuff is just like, no one is going to ever match that. And the dance routines as well. Again, someone that's never been that interested in dance.
Yeah.
I was able to sort of watch his live performances and the dancing. And appreciate it and rewind and watch that little move again that I missed. And that was really, interesting and intricate. And
that's something he was so famous for, wasn't it? His moves.
Absolutely. And I fell in love with it. It was just absolutely wonderful. I think that is really
fantastic.
Special.
And like the way that you've described that there, it is powerful because it's like everyone can relate, or everyone, like a lot of people with Michael Jackson can relate to what you just said. And it is, sadly, the fact that you explained that so well is the reason that it can't reach the top. Because you just explained to me the sort of process of the thing at the top of our list in the introduction of A Lifelong Passion. Because I feel like that's basically what this is for you.
Yeah, it is a lifelong passion. It sounds weird. I'm so, my passion is Michael Jackson. Oh, okay, do you have a job, or no? Just stay in.
Just Michael Jackson.
Just Michael Jackson.
Just got to 24/7 be on that appreciation train. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I don't expect you to come out with an instant answer, but do you have a favourite work of Michael Jackson?
So I'd say my favourite song is definitely Human Nature.
Okay, that's the one you described as like kicking it all off for you. Yeah,
pretty much. And also, just every time I listen to it, it's such a beautiful, like the synth music on that, and the it's just really smooth and calm and chill, and it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
The short film that I love the most is Ghosts, which is it's 40 minutes long, and it's got a couple of songs like Ghosts, Too Bad, and Is It Scary? And the dance routines on that, like my favourite dance routine of all of them is in there.
Okay.
And it's just like, and that's also at the later stage where people were starting, like this was after he had the first allegations against him, and where people started to sort of think that he was not as, his music wasn't as good as before. His peak was long gone. But still, like, to show that he had, after all this time, still lots left to deliver. Yeah. So I'd probably say the Ghosts music video, short film. The Ghosts short film, I should say.
Okay. Now, I want you to take those two things that you just described to me, the Ghost short film and Human Nature, the song, and you got those in your mind, okay?
Okay.
Now, we're going to go up the list, and you need to tell me if those two things are better than each of the things I name, okay? In your opinion. Okay. DC Comics.
I'm a Marvel fan, so definitely.
Oh, good lad. Okay. The concept of making refreshing ice cream.
Not a huge fan of ice cream either, so yes.
Okay. Now, and you're going to have to use your imagination for this one because it's never been done. Pouring the perfect amount of pasta.
Now, this is where I'd completely disagree with you, because my partner made me realise that you don't need to pour the perfect amount of pasta.
What?
Because once you find out the right amount of pasta, in our case 2.5 cupfuls, then you don't need to ever worry about it again. This was something that kept me awake at night, is the fact that my partner's also, she's making dinner tonight and is making pasta, and the choosing the right amount of pasta is going to be an absolute doddle for her, because she measures it like a normal, like you measure anything else. You don't make bread by just pouring out flour randomly. Why should pasta be any different?
And I never make bread well, so that would be why.
So I think if anyone's worried about pouring out the perfect amount of pasta, 2.5 cupfuls.
Okay.
And you're on your way.
But you say you used to, before you knew it was 2.5 cupfuls, you used to, like, it was a nightmare.
This used to be a problem.
Okay,
but
so
now
that
it's such a simple solution.
That first time that it was the perfect amount, right? How did you feel then?
Just more full than I was before. not, yeah. And I think also you're talking pouring the perfect amount of pasta, because you admitted the fact that you described this as an imaginary event. I've experienced things like the Human Nature song and the Ghost music video. So I can actually properly describe this. You're describing something that anyone else, has to, by your sort of standards, imagine. So
yeah, okay, all right. So we'll go above that. Okay, now Vault Boy.
I don't know what that is, so
then we'll go above that. Now this is where I really get stuck. And listeners, again, we're looking at the list right now. I'm looking at number 4. I'm looking at "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal, and this is where I start to have my doubts. So talk me through. Explain to me why you think, if you do, the work of Michael Jackson is better than "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal.
I think if you think about the work that will survive, and
right.
I mean the fact that Michael is dead and is just as, if anything, potentially more popular because there's more people to appreciate him than when he was alive.
Okay.
But also, if you think about the fact that has Seal got is Seal the king of anything? Is he the king of artists that sound like marine animals? And I would say no, he isn't.
But you're straying away from the point here. We're not looking at Seal. We're looking at this specific gem of human achievement. The
reason that I used Seal and comparing him to Michael is mainly because of the fact that I've never properly listened to that song. So,
right, okay, right. This is wow. Right, anything can happen on live TV, but there are some things you just don't expect to happen, and this, wow. Wow, I'm genuinely speechless. You've never properly listened to "Kiss from a Rose."
It's something that I've never thought to be ashamed of before, but now I think actually maybe it is.
My God, this is. I think this is unheard of. We should put you in a museum. The man who hasn't listened to "Kiss from a Rose" properly. I'm gonna find out that your secret item on the list to go right at the bottom, underneath "Idiots on Bikes," is me for not listening to "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm going to have to put the works of Michael Jackson underneath "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal. I'm afraid, and it's a very valiant effort from you. But in all fairness,
I wasn't able to make much of a case for why it should go above. Other than I'm not that, I don't really know the song. And to be honest, I didn't know Michael's music until I heard it, and then I fell in love. So, maybe it's going to be the same with Seal.
I mean, with Seal, I can say one thing. I can say listen to "Kiss from a Rose" and listen to it well, but never listen to anything else by Seal because it's all a bit shit, to be perfectly honest. Other than "Kiss from a Rose," which is just
that's the sort of catch-22 is that the fact that "Kiss from a Rose" is what's on the list. But if we compare the people that created, like I'm saying things like "Human Nature" and the Ghost music video, but if we compare the people that created them, the person that is championing Seal, has admitted the fact that if it was Seal, he'd be probably at the bottom of the list. So.
Well, I invite you or any other guest to come along and put Seal on the list, and I can guarantee he won't do well at all.
I'm going to come back to this podcast having become an expert on Seal's music, given the fact that given my track record with becoming an expert on artists that I otherwise didn't know, I will be able to become an expert on Seal, come back and provide the best case in the world as to why not only Seal should go at the bottom of the list, but why "Kiss from a Rose" should go at the bottom of the list.
I feel like you're going into that research with a bias, but okay, that is quite all right. Now, I'm going to add an item into the list, and for listeners, I mean, I know you get the guests to do a best thing and a bad thing. Now, usually I just go for something fairly neutral, but I'm actually shooting for the stars with this one and going for a best thing. And this is something which has polarised not only England, but the entire world, and is probably one of the most divisive issues ever. And I don't know how you're going to react to this, William. And I can only hope.
I'm relaxed. Don't worry. Relaxed. I'm on the bed. I'm not tense. I'm ready for this.
It's 3 words. 3 very simple words. Pineapple on pizza.
Okay.
Now, you're slightly taken aback there. I mean, I have a feeling that you're going to say you're completely neutral on this, which will shock me even more than not hearing "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal properly. So what is your opinion on pineapple on pizza?
the thing with pineapple on pizza for me is that it most often occurs, am I correct, on a Hawaiian pizza?
Most commonly with most people, yes.
And a Hawaiian pizza also, again, correct me if I'm wrong, contains ham.
It does contain ham, yes.
I am a vegetarian, so I would never have a Hawaiian pizza. So my sort of the chances of me actually encountering pineapple on pizza are already much slimmer.
Yeah.
However, I'm not neutral. If anything, I'm against people that are so against pineapple on pizza. People that are sort of... Now, I want to... Are you trying to put this at the top of the list or at the bottom of the list?
I personally love pineapple on pizza, but I really don't like Hawaiian pizza.
Okay.
So...
Well, my opinion of it is that if people enjoy pineapple on pizza, it's not harming anyone. Just, if anything, I'd just be jealous that I can't share that enjoyment if I was someone that didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't go, that's disgusting. How can you possibly do it? I'd be like, oh, God, I feel like, you're so much better than me because you can enjoy that sort of stuff where I can't.
What a positive message in these dark, dark times of the internet. What a nice, warming message. And
I think at the end of the day... I personally, I like food just as much as the next person, but I'm not that snooty or passionate about food to the point where, like I, for example, when I did eat meat, would happily have vinegar on roast chicken. Now, I'm sure you're already thinking of putting that right at the bottom of the list. But I'm not the right person to tell someone what they can and cannot combine food-wise. So I'm just, if you want that, go for it.
Wow, I congratulate you for being the only person on the internet to have ever had that attitude towards anything. But yeah, pineapple on pizza. I mean, my personal favourite is double pineapple pizza with single olives, black olives.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a banging pizza, if you don't mind.
Here's another thing. I'm not a huge fan of olives, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can't put olives on a pizza. Like, that's not my place. I'm not the right person to do that. So if you enjoy olives on a pizza, then fair play to you.
Now, even though you have very limited experience with pineapple on pizza, I'm going to ask you to help me here. And listeners, again, look at the link in the description to see the list that we're looking at. I'm looking around the number 8 mark. I can't decide whether it's better or worse.
Thank God, because I was worried you were going to try and sneak it above Michael Jackson. And given the controversy with Kiss from a Rose, I thought, I can't suffer any more from it. Okay. So the number 8 mark.
Yeah, the number 8 mark is the concept of making refreshing ice cream. I don't know whether it's better or worse, right? Because I'm not talking about the concept of pineapple on pizza. I'm talking about pineapple on pizza, the stuff itself. And that's what I'm really looking at. So you're not a fan of ice cream, though, are you?
No, but I'm also not a fan of DC Comics. So, I wouldn't really... I think the number 8 mark above DC Comics, I mean, they're both very divisive things. Some people either love Marvel or DC. Some people either love pineapple on pizza or think it's the worst thing in the world. So so I think the number 8 mark, I'm not got any argument against that at all.
Okay, so you think that we should put pineapple on pizza down now at number 8, just below pouring the perfect amount of pasta and just above making refreshing ice cream as a concept? We've now added 3 entries into the list, with your best entry getting to number 5 being the worst of Michael Jackson, your worst entry getting right down second to the bottom at number 30 being advertising campaigns, and then my entry you helped me put in at number 8, pineapple on pizza. And are you happy with those placements in the list? I know you would like Michael Jackson to get a bit higher.
I'm not going to leave this podcast recording saying that I'm happy with Michael being below Kiss from a Rose, but I know that that's just going to fall on deaf ears.
You'll accept it.
I'll accept it.
You won't be happy about
a glazed expression.
That's all that I can ask for. And you know what, William? Thank you so much for coming and being a guest on this podcast.
I'd love to come back, but I also understand the fact that the concept of a best and worst item, I've already sort of told you that. So, but if there's ever any chance if you do another list,
Absolutely. We'll be sure to have you back at some point. And that leads me on nicely to, obviously you haven't launched it yet, but would you like to tell any of the listeners about what you're planning on launching in the future?
Yeah, so I'm producing my own podcast called Straight from the Lungs, and I actually have cystic fibrosis, which is a medical condition that affects mainly the lungs but other parts of the body as well. And one of the problems with CF in the wider world is that not many people really understand it. So if you are a parent who's just had their child diagnosed with CF, then you get told by the doctors what it is. You probably go that night Googling to try and find out what it is, and you come up with the sort of horror stories, which isn't really indicative of cystic fibrosis. You don't hear about the people that have had to go into hospital once a year, but also have been able to get a university degree and appear on the rank list of everything. You don't get those sort of stories, because you either get the horror stories or you also get the bodybuilders or the people that seem to be my child would never be able to sort of achieve that or whatever. So it's gonna hear from the people that CF affects, so not just patients but also their parents, medical teams, people that fundraise for charities, partners as well, and let them tell their stories about their experiences with cystic fibrosis, so that if anyone wants to hear about what CF is, they can hear it from the people that actually have to deal with it on a daily basis, as opposed to some sort of Wikipedia article or whatever. So I'm currently producing that. It's something that the idea I came up with around 2 years ago, but because of different things, I've had to put it off actually producing it. But I'm hoping to release it later this year, but you never know with these sort of things. So I'm just working on it doing it as I go and seeing where it takes me. But so far I'm so excited for this, and because it's been a long time coming as well. But there's also lots of other people in the CF community that I've interviewed, and they're like, when's your podcast coming out? So I'm just, like I say, working on it, seeing where it takes me, and I'll make sure that you can listen to it afterwards when it's online.
Yeah, but as soon as that is published, you can find a link to that in the description. And as someone who's never had any experience and know very little about this, I'm someone who's really interested in finding out more about this, because like you say, if I just went and Googled it now, I'd just find the horror stories and that's it.
Whereas this, I'm trying my absolute best to be totally, these are authentic. The tagline is real stories from real people. Yeah. And I'm going to take a step back and let those people tell their stories.
Well, it sounds like an absolutely fantastic idea for a podcast for a, quite frankly, noble cause. And as I say, as soon as that is up, you will find that in the description, and I will be tweeting about it as well. So you can find that there. If you want to email the show, it will be theranklistofeverything@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, the Twitter is @the_RLOE. William, is there any sort of social medias that you want to plug at the moment, or?
Well, if I do the Straight for the Lungs ones, they're completely blank at the moment. But if you want to sort of stay up to date with it, then if you just search Straight from the Lungs in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, a lot of those things you can find me. The handles are Lungs Podcast. Yep. And if you find me on there, like the page and find updates on that.
Again, you'll be able to find all that great stuff in the description. So again, William, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
It's been an absolute pleasure. This has been really fun.
All right, well, thank you so much. And listeners, hopefully you'll join me again in the next episode. And until then, I'm going to try saying a new sign-off thing, which probably won't continue. So happy ranking. Get it? Because it sounds a bit like wanking.
Yeah.